This is a test of the City of Palaca audio system.
hour. I'll call this meeting of the November 2nd, 2021 Planning Board for the City of Palaca to order. If you would, Pastor Mulberry, are you there?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
If you would join me in standing, and if you would give it the invocation, please.
Sure. Father, again, we thank you for this day. For this is a day that you have made, and certainly we are rejoicing and glad in it. We thank you, dear God, for our gathering. Thank you for these that have come and the sacrifices your people make to attend and to come, that we may go forward in the business of the city. We thank you, dear God, for all that you're doing, certainly for what you're going to do. We pray that thou would guide our hearts and minds. Give us what to do and how to do, what to say and how to say, that your name alone would be glorified. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. You would join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You can be seated. Sonny, would you call the roll, please?
Thank you, sir. Chairman Killebrew,
Here.
Vice Chairman Deloach, not present for the record. Earl Wallace.
Here.
Chase Barnes, not present for the record. Don Rawls, not present for the record. Edie Wilson.
Present.
Katie Owens. Thank you, sir. 4 out of 7, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Can I get a motion of the approval for the approval of minutes for the September 7th, 2021 meeting? And also for the, I guess I need to do those separately. The approval of minutes for September 7th, 2021 meeting, please. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion is a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. If I can get a motion for the approval of minutes for October the 5th, 2021 Planning Board Workshop.
Second.
Motion in a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. Motion passes. Okay, at this time, I need to read the appeal procedures and ex parte communication. Any person wishing to appeal any decision made by the planning board with respect to any matter considered at such a meeting will need a record of the proceedings, and for such purpose may need to ensure that a verbatim record of the proceeding is made, which record includes the testimony and evidence upon which the appeal is to be based. Florida statutes 286-105, persons with disabilities requiring accommodations in order to participate in this meeting should contact the city clerk's office at 329-0100 at least 24 hours in advance to the request accommodations. For the accommodation. At this time, public comments. This doesn't pertain to the cases themselves. Just if anybody's got any comment that they would like to comment, they can come forward at this time. If you're going to speak to a particular case, I'll ask you forward at that time. Okay, seeing none, we'll move on. We'll move into the regular business. We'll start with the PB case 21-38, conditional use request to retain multifamily units in an R1 zoning district, location 314 Emmett Street, Palaca, Florida, 32177. The applicant is Dustin Morgan. If you want to proceed, please, ma'am.
Good afternoon, members of the Planning Board. I'm Lisa Walsh, Planning Director. This request is for a conditional use for a historic structure that contains 4 apartments in the R1 zoning district. Public notice has been made per statutes. It's located at 314 Emmett Street. And the lot is about 0.12 acres in size. The building is currently vacant and has been so for a number of years. It's also in poor condition at this time because it's been vacant for so long. It's been set up as 4 apartment units. And because it has been vacant for longer than 12 months, any prior conditional use has expired, and so it has to be granted again. The conditional uses are permissible within this zoning district per your staff report. And those conditional uses include townhouses, home occupations, bed and breakfast accommodations in historic districts, and original or historic uses in historic districts. Sunny, could you go to the next page that shows the chart? Oh, there's the map of subject properties there. And there's a chart that shows the surrounding uses. It's all residential all around it. And all within that residential high density land use. The zoning is a little different to the north in that it touches the downtown business district. And it also touches an R3 boundary to the east. And on the next map, you can see again the subject property, where it is, and it shows its future land use. The next map should show the zoning around it. And you can see that downtown business to the north and the R3 in the green to the east. And then the next photograph is a picture of the building. The analysis that's included in your staff report is taken directly from the code for section 94-3, parentheses 4, parentheses. The first item, would you like me to read through these, or are you guys?
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. The first item is compliance with all applicable elements of the comprehensive plan. The property is in a residential high-density future land use category, which supports additional dwelling units per acre. It's currently vacant, and the proposed use will generate no more traffic than the previous use. Ingress and egress to the property and proposed structures thereon, with particular reference to automotive and pedestrian safety and convenience, traffic flow and control, and access in case of fire or catastrophe, is another item that needs to be considered. The property has previously been used as residential. There are 2 established parking areas on either side of the structure. Traffic counts on Emmett Street are minimal. While there are no sidewalks on the street at this location, residential neighborhoods typically have lower vehicle speed limits, allowing both drivers and pedestrians a little more time to accommodate each other. The next item is off-street parking and loading areas where required, with particular attention to the items mentioned in subsection 4B of this section, and the economic noise, glare, or odor effects of the special exception on adjoining properties and properties generally in the district. Historic structures often lack the same parking provisions as newer development. And as mentioned above, there are 2 established parking areas along either side of the structure. The next item is refuse and service areas, with particular reference to the items mentioned in subsection 4B and C in this section. The proposed use will not be a large refuse generator. Residential refuse collection will occur upon establishment of an account with the Palaca Gas Authority. Item E is utilities, with reference to location, availability, and compatibility. The property is currently connected to city water and sewer systems. As there will be a minimal number of people on the site on a regular basis, demand for water and sewer should be minimal, about the same as it would have been historically. Item F, screening and buffering, with reference to type, dimensions, and character. Residential uses are not required to buffer or screen from other residential uses per our code. Signs, item G, if any, and proposed exterior lighting with reference to glare, traffic, safety, economic effects, and compatibility and harmony with properties in the district. Any sign that might be proposed for that site would have to meet the requirements of section 62 and 94-149 of the municipal code. Item H, required yards and other open space. The existing building was constructed long before current zoning setback requirements in this district. So consequently, it's a little tight, and it's on a very unusually shaped lot, that whole triangular thing, which is kind of interesting. I think in the jargon of our discipline, we call those opportunities, right? Item I, general compatibility with adjacent properties and other property in the district. The property will consist of one large existing building with a residential use and an overall residential area. It meets general compatibility standards. Item J, any special requirements set out in the schedule of district regulations for this particular use involved, there are none. Item K, the recommendation and any special requirements of the Historic Preservation Board for uses within the historic district zoning, HD zoning district. Those are also not applicable. However, you might want to be aware that we did present this to the last Historic Preservation Board meeting, and they were all in favor of this use. They felt that it would be a very good opportunity for the district to bring a building back up to current standards and put it back in active use, and also restore it back to its original condition. So staff's recommendation is that you approve the conditional use subject to the following: obtain all necessary building permits prior to initiation of the use, address any parking issues off-street, and ensure any external structure changes are presented to and approved by the Historic Preservation Board as needed. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
I just got one thing. Maybe I heard you wrong. You said there weren't any sidewalks. In this picture of the front of the home, there's a sidewalk right there.
Okay.
I'm just curious as to why you said there weren't any sidewalks.
Well, most neighbors, in other parts of the neighborhood, there aren't any sidewalks.
Okay.
Like, I don't think there's any sidewalks on the other side of the street.
But there's probably, I don't think
that-
there's any right there on Laurel Street.
Right.
It's in the historic.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I see they're not applicable.
Right. It doesn't have to go before the historic district, Historic Preservation Board for this approval. This is strictly at this time conditional use.
If it's approved, they do have to follow their recommendations, right?
Yes, sir. Yes. When they come in for the renovation of the building, they will have to go before the Historic Preservation Board.
So parking, okay, so I'm familiar with this area. So on the, you don't hear me or?
You need
Gotta
to turn it on, please.
Okay.
Just gotta record you.
The, we had a house listed to the left of that, but so there's this little setback to the left of this house. And that property is a whole different property owner, correct?
I'm not sure what setback you're talking about.
Okay. When you look at the big picture or the colored picture,
The photograph of the house?
the
Literally
left
the
of
big
it.
picture.
there is a place that sets back. Huh?
I said literally the big picture.
Yeah, the big picture.
This picture?
Yes. See
Okay.
the red truck to the left?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that is another property right there.
Okay.
So I'm assuming it does not go with that. So where is the parking allowed?
You've got that large point out there going
Right.
to Laurel Street.
Right. They would have to provide that as part of the off-street parking.
And then they might can answer these questions because it seems like that property line must be pretty close to the left-hand side of the house. 3 feet? Okay. So there is no parking on the left-hand side.
That would be correct.
It's just going to be on the right-hand side. Okay.
Y'all have any more
When
questions?
I looked at it originally, I couldn't tell where the property line was.
Mhm.
So,
Because, I mean, we've had one of this same situation and, you know, that parking was the big deal,
mhm,
especially with 4 units.
Right.
Because, I mean, I don't want to be blocked in, but I know that point is out there.
right.
I don't know what their plan is. I guess they can answer when.
And the applicant would be responsible for installing that as part of their site plan, their renovation work.
Any further questions, Ms. Walsh? Would the applicant like to step up and speak? Okay. Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, sir. It's Dustin Morgan, 4015 Shenandoah Avenue, St. Louis, Missouri. I appreciate y'all's time today.
Mr. Gilbert, may I ask him to step back for just a little bit
Yeah.
from the mic?
That's,
Oh, sorry.
you don't have to get right. I was going, so I was fixing to correct it.
Yeah, sorry, I already talked loud enough.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're looking to just retain the multifamily in an R1 zoning. We plan on honestly making this a brand new building by preserving the historical integrity. So we'll have 4 units. Most of them are, as of right now, they're shotgun style, so you walk straight through all the rooms. We're hoping to keep them 1-1, 2-1s, but this will be a brand new building when we're done. And we will, I've got a general contractor already working with the permitting, so we'll make sure everything's under the gun. As far as the parking, that's something we've already considered. We will have to come to the board for that and determine what the best path for that is, whether it's just extending that portion to the right, to the left. And like you said, I did speak to the owner next door and we're almost on top of each other. So absolutely, we'll have to work through that as well.
Anybody have any questions?
How did you, St. Louis, Missouri, how did you find this?
I'm actually from Tupelo, Mississippi, where Elvis was born, if that helps. But
Yeah, that explains. it.
there you go. So if you want to hear the long story, I've got a friend that I met on Twitter who's been doing real estate for years, and he's from this area, and he gave this to my attention, and I thought it's a beautiful home and a great location. So that's really why I took it. It's interesting, and I haven't done historical yet. So
You're gonna be an absentee owner?
yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's correct. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you were talking like the shotgun style, so
Yes, ma'am.
you had the 2 up top, and I mean, you're 2, and everything's 1-1s, both of all up and down.
So the way they're laid out, they are shotgun style. There's actually 3 on the left side and 1 on that bottom right, which is strange, but the way it's laid out is you have 1 on the bottom, 2 up top, and then you've got this just one, that door on the bottom right just goes to 1 building. So everything else is accessed through 1 other door. But yeah, as we're looking now, they are just straight through, and technically they have closets in 2 rooms, and we would just throw up a door to be a 2-1, but we're just trying to work on the layout a little bit because it is fairly strange, to be honest.
Okay.
Your conditional use is for 4. right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Any further questions of the applicant? Okay, seeing none. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, sir.
Is there anybody here that would wish to speak from, well, I got your cards, never mind. Okay, John, if you want to step forward, you were making that leap. Please give us your name and address.
John Vogt, 220 South Fourth. I live directly across the street from this residence, and I'm absolutely positively in opposition of this. The applicant's representative stated a number of things. One, there's parking on both sides, which there is absolutely not. And to return to original condition, this was a single-family dwelling. That would be the original condition. And they also state that they want to retain something they don't have. It's not R3, it's R1. So are they striding to retain R1?
Current zoning says R1A on the app.
Yeah, conditional use request to retain. But they're trying to retain something that they don't have and haven't had for at least 11 years.
Okay,
I'll pose a question for that. Also, the allowed housing units per acre is stated as 0.12 acres. Would that be another variance?
Ms. Walsh,
I'm not sure what the allowable housing units per acre are, but at a 0.12 acreage, how many units would that entail?
if Ms. Walsh,
Allowable.
Ms. Walsh, if you'll step back just a minute, Ms. Walsh, or you can step right there, Ms. Walsh. You can sit in your seat, Ms. Walsh. I didn't realize you had a seat.
Apparently neither did I. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. The density of units is typically, can you hear me, Sunny?
Well, this is a historic district, so it's not typical.
Understood. The future land use is R3. I'm sorry, not R3. That's, I mean, the future land use is high density residential, which allows up to 8 units per acre. You could fit that on
So-
that lot if it was much
Well, you have 0.12 of acreage.
understood. It's also historic use. It's been there before. And as a,
That's why all these new codes have been adopted by the city.
right, but when that happens,
Can you both speak louder?
Or speak into your
when,
microphone.
but when that happens,
What's happened is
that thing
years
has
ago,
become,
is
that property has become a non-conforming use once the zoning was changed.
it's obsolete nonconformance.
It's non-conformance, which means that the
And-
use
and
could
the provisions
continue,
Are obsolete.
which means that the use could continue as long as it was still in use and didn't stop that use.
That ship has sailed because it's been.
I understand,
11
sir,
years since there's
but
been
that's why the
services.
applicant is asking for a conditional use. They have, the use expired, the use, I'm sorry, the use stopped for X number of years. Once it's stopped for a year, they have to come back in and ask for a conditional use to resume that use.
You also stated you want to return it to original condition, which was a single family dwelling. And the City of Black has adopted these new codes and variations due to the fact that so many homes have been chopped up, cut up, and made into multifamily in a residential R1 district. That's where I stand on this, and I'm absolutely against. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Bill Rulon?
Bill Rulon, 315 Emmett Street, across the street, obviously. So as with John, I am opposed as well. Primarily, just to go down quickly, I had done my research when I purchased my house, and I was given the same information. It's been vacant for X amount of years. It must revert back to a single family original dwelling. And that was the way it was left. I was happy with that. It allowed me to make the decision to buy my house. Here we are 10 years later, looking at a 4-family. With that being said, if we return to the 4-family house, what's going to return is all the criminal activity, all the police presence, and the mess that was there from prior. If you speak to the neighbors, they will fill you in on that. I'm sure if you were able to go to the police department and say how many calls were made at that home when it was a 4-family, they could fill you in the number there. That's one reason I oppose it. The other reason, again, we've talked about parking here. Going by my drawing here, I'm sure it's hard for you to see. You can see how much of the home is taken up by the property. There is no parking. If you turn it into a 4-family, you're talking 10 to 12 cars. You're going to have to pave that entire corner. And what that looks like for all these new fresh things that are going down at the riverfront, sure, it won't look very well. But it is stuffed in there. There's, like I said, you're 3 feet off the side of that yard. The rest is right on that big angle. Since he's gotten it, that's a great picture they had up there, but that was from several years ago. It's not even been taken care of since they had it. At least the original guy that owned it, he came from Orlando once a month and mowed the grass. Hasn't been touched in months and months and months. So that's a mess. And with the new streets that were constructed there, it now is curbs there and then your sidewalk. There's nowhere to park in the front. So that's out of the picture. This was from 2007 Google Maps when it was a 4-family. Cars parked everywhere, all over that front area. So that, again, my complaint is there's no parking for it. If you return it to a 4-family house, it is going to be a disaster for that street. If somebody parks on that street in front of that house, I can't get out of my driveway. My neighbors can't get out of their driveway. It will be a disaster. So I think it really should have gone back to being a single family. If it's going to be renovated as a historic house, that's great, but it's really beyond that. It's a mess. And I know what's going to happen. It's great that people want to invest in the community. He's coming from another state. He's going to slap the paint on it. He's going to fill it up with 4 families and walk away, and then we're stuck with the mess. So that is what I have to say. It's all yours.
Thank you. Is it? Take it, Vic. Please state your name and address for the record.
Vito Russo, 313 Emmett Street, right across the street. And I reflect what,
Wait a minute. One of y'all live, how many of y'all live right across there? Is there a double family thing across the street?
we share a house. We're that close. Yeah, I'm directly across. I'm 313, you're 315. Yeah. So obviously, we want to see the house restored, obviously. But currently, I think there is a code. I do believe it is only 30% of a lot can be impervious, have an impervious footprint on it. This property cannot possibly accommodate a 4-family unit. It just can't do it. It's you'd be paving the whole side of it. So that would violate a code. As Bill mentioned, the parking would be horrendous. I mean, the streets are narrow. Unfortunately, the historic streets are too narrow. They're only 20 feet wide at the max. If anybody parks across the street from a driveway throughout the entire neighborhood, they block the person trying to pull out. So, I mean, and if you had 4 families there, you know good and well that people coming there, living there, visiting there are going to be parking on that street and blocking me in. And that's just simply problematic. So, unfortunately, the city allowed this situation to develop because that house to the left should never have been built. Somehow that, if I'm not mistaken, that property to the left was owned by that lot. So the city allowing this to develop is really the crux of the problem. I mean, this should never have been come about, but now we're stuck with it. So I don't see how a 4-family flat is going to work in the neighborhood. It's absentee owners is an element of blight, which we have been fighting against for decades. I mean, right now the property looks like hell. I mean, the grass is, yay tall, and that doesn't bode well for what we think will be in the near future if it becomes a 4-family flat. So I think our only, yeah, I'm sorry.
Please, let the speaker speak. Don't speak from the audience, please.
No, I'm against allowing this to become a 4-family flat, obviously. I mean, we'd like to see it go back to single family and try to work out a solution with that, which would be hard enough as it is, because there is 0 parking over there, 0. And you can't park in the right of way. City doesn't let you park in the right of way. That's a major issue also. So that's my position.
Thank you, Mr. Russo. Is there anybody else who would like to speak to this? Step to give us your name and address, please. And if you don't mind, would you fill out a card when you get through?
Yes, sir, I will. My name is Patty Vogt, and I live at 220 South 4th Street. I'm John's wife. I would like to see the house be single family as well. John and I have been living in the house we're in now for 7 years. When we bought it, it was empty for 30 years and it was gutted. We have worked very hard to try to make that a beautiful corner. Laurel Street is very busy. There's a lot of traffic that goes up and down to the dock. We have all the anglers coming, Wolfson children, anglers, all the fishing tournaments, and they all go down and park around behind us at the Baptist Church. It's very important that we give a better presentation of Palaca and the way it looks aesthetically than it looks right now. That particular property has been empty for over 7 years. And I would like to see that the neighborhood, and there'd be more single families, residential people across the street. We have all the Ford apartments that are, apartments. Then to the right of us, we have apartments. So I would just like to aesthetically see it look better. I think another apartment building, another especially someone who's not going to be here, maintaining the property is just not in the best interest for the city of Palaca. I'm sure with everybody coming from up north and everywhere else, there'll be somebody that would be interested in purchasing that property, maybe for their family. So I just would like you all to consider that we're not always low hanging fruit, and that maybe, we can do better than that. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to speak to this? Seeing none,
Mr. Gilbert?
okay. Yes. Yes, sir. Come back up and address what you want to address. State your name and address again, please, sir.
Yes, sir. It's Dustin Morgan, 4015 Shenandoah Avenue, St. Louis, Missouri. I just want to address some of the concerns. Just so a few things, we just picked the property up. I do want to make sure if the yard isn't manicured, we can have that done today, and that will be pretty consistent. I own over 30 Airbnbs across the country, and you can see some of those if you like, they're beautiful. And just to confirm a few things, so we could absolutely, so the property's been sitting there for 7 years. It's an eyesore. We could absolutely make it a single family, which would cost me less. We're putting $260,000 in this, so that's not a slap of paint in this case. So this will be beautiful. Typically, how these homes are valued based off the rents, the areas that you're going to experience will actually increase in value. So we can also work with you on the parking, but I do want to kind of give you an idea. I'm not the typical person. Actually, the reason why I got into real estate was to make people have better places in these smaller areas, such as Tupelo, Mississippi. So if you have any concerns, I'd be happy to discuss those, but this isn't about easy or any of those situations. It's more, we're spending more for multifamily by far than we would resorting back to single. So just wanted to just kind of throw that out there.
I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Me.
Sorry.
I mean, I've lived here all my life. I know the home very well.
Yes, sir.
How would you, speaking to some of their concerns.
Yeah.
How would you do the parking? The parking that in that place is hopping curves, tearing up the yard,
Yes, sir.
Everything like that.
Yeah, I think in the worst case scenario, there can be a car limit. So, it's not going to be 12, 16, anything of that sort. We would be, right now they're 1-1s. We can make them one car. We can make them 2 cars each. We only see one becoming a 2-1. So in that case, it would be 1 car per house, and then it would be 5 total. So, but also we're willing, like I said, we have planned $260,000 for this rehab. This is a serious project. It's going to be brand new. Part of that is parking. Part of that is a fence. It's going to be beautiful when we're done. And I'll be happy to have a conversation with you and show you some of our work in the past. We've done great work. Yes,
You
ma'am.
said part of it's parking,
Yes, sir.
but you haven't addressed what you're going to do. How are you going to do that?
Right. So my GC is going to have to take care of all that. I'll be honest. I'm not a good at the planning. I just know kind of what we're wanting to do and how we're wanting it to be. So I would have to, he's not available today. I wish he was here, but we will absolutely find a solution that will work historically. And if we already have, part of that is $30,000 we have planned just for the parking scenario. So where it would go, I wouldn't state it and just say, but I promise you it is involved in our scope of work.
Okay.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So are you planning short-term or are you planning long-term?
So this would be long-term.
Okay.
This would be long-term rental. Yes, ma'am.
When you said Airbnbs.
Yeah,
that's what I
yeah.
thought that-
We've got quite a few long-terms too, but I just mentioned that just to say, as far as remote, I actually don't think I've ever had anything under a 5-star review ever.
Mhm.
So super hosts everywhere, and we have teams for that are better than me, even if I was here. So just wanted to throw that out there. I promise you, if I could say one thing, like just as a human being, I'm gonna make this as beautiful as I can be, and I'll try to make it the best I can be. And I understand if there's concerns revolving around that, because most real estate does have a bad rap.
Okay, so I have another question.
Yes, ma'am.
We've had this come before us before, and the solution was just two apartments, upstairs, downstairs. Same thing, historic district, outside, right by the historic district.
Mhm.
And the solution was, because pretty much that house was the same, Maholan Park. So tight, the whole bit, but they could get, 2 vehicles on each side.
Sure.
So upstairs, downstairs. So, we limited the parking. We went, because they wanted a quad.
Sure.
And we went to a double. And it worked out. They put it in high end. It was nice. And I don't think there's been any, kind of complaints, from that.
Right.
So
You're talking about the house over in Mulholland?
Mulholland Park.
Back in the 1800s, I think it was built as a 2-family house.
As a 2.
So it's historically compatible.
Right.
This one,
I'm just throwing that out because we're here for a solution. Yeah. 4 family, it's kind of tight. Two-family is a lot better than four. Especially, and like I said, we limited, they couldn't park in the front on the grass, which really wasn't any, but we had them very tight of what, could be done in that.
It's, we've just, I'll just be fully transparent. We've talked through those and if we were not to get 4-family approval, we would go to single family and then I would just eventually give up the property when it was complete. So there's just from a financial perspective, it doesn't make sense as a two.
Okay.
But we would put, like I said, this isn't about anything other than I love giving, there's nothing for rent from what I can see. I've looked around, there's nothing for rent. I think it's a great opportunity to give people a really, when I say really nice place, it will be a beautiful home for people. The parking, we'll resolve that. We'll come up with a solution for that. But it's actually going to cost us way less to do a single if we had to resort back. Just so I can throw that out.
But you are, if you don't get 4, you're willing to do a single?
Well, it would, if we do a single, it would just be a rehab and we would just sell it.
Then you
Yes, sir.
roll it.
Yes, sir. So, and then it comes back to, I'm not sure who would be in it at that point, but I do screen. I always say it's harder to get in my houses than Yale. So we would have good tenants. I will say that. That's it. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
John Vogt, 220 South 4th Street. I'm familiar with that duplex on Mulholland Park, and it was built as a duplex.
Right.
And at the same time, that one retained as it was built. If you overturn the R1 on this property, you're going to set a precedent that all of these codes and ordinances that the city adopted are out the window. Thank you very much.
You said if we return it to R1, what?
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Say what you said again?
On the topic of the Mulholland Park,
No, if this house is returned to
no, if they approve
R1,
to go from R1 to R3,
okay.
this was built as a single family residence. Somebody carved it up into 4s.
Yeah, it was the R1s and the R3s.
Right. And if this was to be allowed, all these ordinances and codes that the city's adopted are out the window. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else want to speak to this subject? Against or for? Yes, ma'am. Oh, that's right. We have an email to be read into the record. I'm sorry.
Give me just one moment to pull it up, please. This email was sent by Miss Jane West. Good afternoon. I'm writing as a resident to object to multifamily use at 314 Emmett Street. I purchased my home at 212 South 4th Street 2 years ago, so I live just down the block from the structure. I walk by this place daily and have been absolutely appalled at the lack of maintenance and derelict conditions of this building. It barely looks habitable. As the former chair of the City of St. Augustine Beach Planning and Zoning Board, I would never have rewarded an applicant that cared so little for their property. The City of Palatka needs to encourage home ownership, especially in its historic districts that are drawing in younger, working people. We do not need out-of-state slumlords who can't provide basic housing for residents. Approving of this application will negatively impact not only the aesthetics of our neighborhood, but our property values as well. Please deny this application and consider this email as part of the record. I am attaching photos of this nasty structure versus my humble home. It is small, but it's owner occupied, and that makes all the difference. Thank you, Jane West, Esquire. And this is the picture she presented for the record.
Okay, thank you. If there's nobody else that wants to speak to or for, which I see none of, I'm going to draw this back to the board. And is there any discussion amongst ourselves that we want to talk about? My thing, one thing I want to say is that the applicant has stated that he just bought it recently, and we're bringing up things against him about the way it looks now. So I just kind of want to wipe that off the board, that, the applicant stating that he's going to have that fixed and done and wants to paint and do things that need to be done to the home.
I really love our historic districts. I was born and raised here. I'd like to live in the South District, but, and you see this in other cities, any home that's been in, it's in the historic district that has been used in the past as rentals, they're just not kept up. And I'm not judging you. I mean, it's not, I'm just going with the past. And as a real estate agent, same thing. You see this, over and over. And I'm a property manager. I handle rental units. So it is one of those things that, the hopes and dreams around here is to restore stuff back to, single family. And because we need both. I mean, we honestly need both. We need rentals, but we need these old homes restored also. So, that's kind of how I feel, that I hate to see one turn back into 4 apartments.
Mr. Walsh, do you have anything to say?
No, I'm ready to make a motion.
I was fixing to ask. Chair will entertain a motion.
Yeah, I'd like, we fought long and hard to get, for lack of a better word, all the Section 8 apartments out of the North and the South Historic District. And nothing against you, but everybody talks a good ball game till it comes time, and then it's past us and out of our hands. I'm gonna make a motion to deny based on the compatibility with the surrounding, being in harmony with the properties around it and the uses around it.
We have a motion on the floor. Is there a second? Motion and a second. Okay. Ms. Wilson, second. Mr. Walls made the motion. Motion's on the floor to deny for basis of compatibility with the neighborhood. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Seeing none, the motion's been denied. Thank you,
Chairman Killebrew?
Yes,
This is
ma'am.
Valeria. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Ms. Thomas?
Good. If he could state on the record, I mean, Ms. Walsh gave the criteria for a conditional use. And what you're doing is you're voting on the conditional use denial, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and so which one of the sections, so that we can have a clear record is the
Aye.
basis for? Aye? Okay.
General compatibility with adjacent properties and other properties in the district.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Thomas.
Mhm.
Okay, with that being said, thank you, sir.
Do we just have 1 second to ask a question on what the R1 house?
Well, I think and don't quote me, ask the
Ms. Walsh.
planner, but I think it is R1 now.
It is R1. This did not change the zoning.
So your conditional use was to get to an R3, or 4 units in
We
an
were,
R1.
right.
All right, thank you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
No, I think.
Yes, thank you for investing.
Yeah, that's the best part. I'm glad we all have it. We live on. It's gonna be beautiful regardless. I appreciate your time.
She does
Thank
really good work, so you can ask her.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, this will be just
Edie.
beautiful. We'll go from there. Thank you all. Have a good day.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to move on to the next thing on our agenda, which is PB case 2107, request to subdivide a 3.26 acre parcel at the northwest corner of Moseley Avenue and Edgemoor Street. Mrs. Walsh, do you want to present that, please?
Good afternoon again, Lisa Welsh, Planning Director. This application is a request for a preliminary plat for a subdivision on 3.26 acres that would accommodate 11 lots. It's located on the northwest corner of Moseley Avenue and Edgemoor Street. The applicant has again requested approval of a preliminary plat and has been reviewed by all City of Palaca departments, and their comments will be accommodated in the next presentation for the final plat, if this goes forward. The applicant is working with the Public Works Department to provide water and sewer to each proposed lot, as well as drainage configurations. And staff recommends approval of the preliminary plat. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
This is not really like a preliminary plat. This is a conceptual design for a subdivision. Preliminary plat, you've got certifications and all of that on it.
Right.
We've got what they plan on.
This is what's in our code. There's a list of requirements that's supposed to be shown on each, and that will be done.
Would the applicant, I'm guessing you're through.
I am, unless
Okay.
you have any questions.
I don't, does anybody, just board have any questions of Ms. Walsh? Okay. Would the applicant like to step forward and speak?
Do you have any questions?
Uh-huh.
My name is Toby McWiggin. Address is 6005 West Shores Road, Fleming Island. Is there any questions from you?
Board have any questions for the applicant?
Have you guys seen a copy of the conceptual?
No, I mean, I can't really get anything out of these.
What we've got in our packet is just an engineer's drawing.
Correct.
And it's not very good.
Yeah, flick on up. I think that may be what we've got
Yep,
right
that's
there.
what we
Yeah,
have.
that's not even a preliminary plat.
Okay, so we got, you can't see that far. So where's Moseley? To the right, to the right, to the right.
All the way.
Okay, and
All the way to the
Edgemoor's at
right.
bottom of it.
Right.
I'm
Correct.
sorry, could everybody speak, turn on their microphones and speak into the microphone so I can hear you, please?
Yes, I was just looking for Moseley and Edgemoor, which way, because you can't really see.
Moseley's to the
Thank you.
right.
Right, got that.
Edgemoor's at the
On the bottom.
bottom.
Okay, so all of these homes would be where they are coming off of Moseley or Edgemoor, correct?
Correct.
Except for the four in the back.
Except for the four in the back, and they would access from Palmacia. We would continue that road that's there and just make a cul-de-sac so that there can be a U-turn there.
So we're pointing them out. So we got two up top
Correct.
and then a cul-de-sac. Is that the cul-de-sac down?
Right
That's
there.
the- That's a cul-de-sac, and then two below that.
And the vacant property to the right of that is this, the old Spalding property.
Mhm.
The cul-de-sac would service the four up there. And the ones to the south would all be off of Edgemoor. What size are the lots?
They're all a minimum of 7,000 square feet. The ones that are on Edgemoor are 70-foot wide by about 200 deep. They're all about 12,000 square feet.
All day.
What's the zoning is required?
R1,
R1 is it 7,000 or 7,500?
it was 7,000. We made sure that they all fit with the R1 designation.
The zoning's R1A.
R1A, that was it, sorry.
Okay. so coming. And so what square, I mean, can I ask what square footage these homes are?
We build between, our smallest house is 1,200, our biggest house is 1,800. So it'll be, whatever the buyers want. We're building two houses down on Edgemoor and Husson from here. One is a 1,600 square foot house. The other one is a 1,250 square foot house. And that's basically what ours is, first-time home buyers, affordable house, not affordable housing, but workforce housing. We try to stay between, 160 to 210 if we can in this market.
So are you building the two houses on St. John's?
Yes, ma'am.
So are they going to be similar to that?
Actually, no, those don't have garages because they were on St. John's. So I wanted to make sure that the access was behind because I thought that would be a really bad design. So no, these would be our either 2-car garage or 1-car garage products.
Would they be of the same building material
Yeah.
as the ones on St. John's Avenue?
Yep, yep. Yeah, that's about this.
Just alike.
They look similar to that. It's the same type of style. We have the gables in the front with the hardy shake and then the hardy lap on the sides.
But all of them in these 11, are they gonna look alike?
They'll be similar styles, but they'll be
Change the
consistent.
rules and-
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to have the same house at one after another.
So you're bringing, to go to the ones in Palmacia, you're bringing, what'd you say, 1,200 square foot? 1,000
Actually, I would probably, yeah, there's 12, are you talking about the lot size?
No, the homes that you're talking about building on Palmacia, talking about bringing the same quality home to the end of those homes, that cul-de-sac.
Correct.
And you've got the homes those are pretty nice homes there that are on Palmacia now. And you're actually going to bring the neighborhood down.
Well, I mean, I don't see that we would be bringing the neighborhood down. I mean, we've done this same concept in Green Cove Springs.
Excuse me, ma'am.
That's all right. I've done the same concept in Green Cove Springs, and in 2 years, I've brought the property values in the area from the 100,000 mark to over 200,000. I mean, the last house we sold was 240,000. But that's, I mean, we're known as a quality builder. We're entry level, but you know, we built a house on Waddles that would probably fit more in this area, which is the 2-car garage. But again, it's going to be based upon what buyers want. And
So
Crystal Cove as well.
You've got one.
We
going
just sold one in Crystal Cove.
That y'all built.
Correct.
Okay, it was a new build.
Yes.
Okay, so lot 10 and 11, are they going to be facing Palmacia or facing the cul-de-sac?
Facing the cul-de-sac.
Which is Palmacia.
Yes.
Correct. Yeah, it'd be still Palmacia.
You said some of them are gonna be 2-car?
Correct. I have a 2-car garage product that we usually do in Middleburg on 1-acre lots, and those usually sell upwards of 300,000. And then we have another product, which is a 1-car garage product. And it depends on which house will fit on what lot and what buyers really want it.
And you got room on these lots for a 2-car garage?
Yes, sir.
I mean, I don't know, I'm just.
Yeah. Oh,
asking.
yeah. They're 60-foot wide lots. I can fit 2 cars all day long. Yeah, we have a 40-foot product and we have a 45-foot wide product that would both fit on here.
Okay, on this map, so where is Palmacia coming into the cul-de-sac?
Yes. To the left of that cul-de-sac.
It
right
comes
there.
from the left into the cul-de-sac. going-
Okay.
Uh-oh.
traveling
Way to
west
go.
east.
Uh-oh. I got it. Okay. I'm familiar with the area. I'm just have to get my bearings.
Anybody have any further questions of the applicant? Okay, thank you, ma'am. Okay, do you have anything email on this?
No, sir, no emails from this one. Ms.
Okay.
Walsh, do you have any? No.
All right, first speaker that I would ask to come forward would be Scott Murray.
Flick back to that slide there before. So there was a blue house there.
That's associated with the prior case, sir.
That was the first case.
I don't want to see the old house.
I was taking the screen down unless you'd rather see something
No,
or
you're good.
want to
I
see
just thought
the
that was-
aerial.
You're good.
Please state your name and address.
Scott Murray, 2019 Brentwood Street. I'm just concerned that, you know, if they put in these affordable homes, that all of our property value is going to go down.
Yes, sir.
And I own one of the largest lots and that's, you know, associated with it. And I don't want to see my property value go down.
Okay,
And majority of these houses are are on the backside of where my property is. And then we have the void that's in between it, which I believe that my neighbor on Palmacia owns that. I'm not sure, I'm pretty sure he owns it or not. Do you know?
No, sir, I wouldn't.
Do you know who owns that? The vacant lot that's in between it. This vacant area there.
Doesn't exist. It's the road that was supposed to be, there was supposed to be a road there. It was
Yes,
platted
that's
that
what I
way.
had thought.
And so it just, yeah,
So is that part of it?
I think it is. Just the overlay on here doesn't represent it. I know that that road is split in half, and I think that half of it was absorbed by, I guess this is where you are.
Yeah, this is all my property.
We got another slide in there that shows the different property lines. It's the last one there. Whoa, come back there. Right there.
Yeah, you see the little skinny piece to the
Yeah.
left, right through there. I believe that my neighbor owns that whole area there, but it does look like it was designed to be a roadway.
Yeah, on here it says right of way on this engineer's drawing. I think it's,
You got your microphone on there?
uh,
Is your microphone? Okay, I'm just making sure.
y'all can hear me, can't you? Yeah, on this drawing here of the lots, it shows right of way to the west of the maintenance easement. It shows a right of way in there.
Yeah, because there's telephone poles
Yeah.
along there.
I don't,
Power.
and I don't know whether it is or not. I'm just, this engineer put it on here.
We were putting it on there to have access to drainage in the back. There's a pond
Mhm.
in the back.
But
And so
what's,
that way we weren't driving down some people with access easements on. We just figured we have one, so that way that can be maintained.
all right, and then to the left or west of, I think it's west, to the west of that maintenance easement, there's a label there that says right of way and a center line symbol going north-south up beside all of that. That's the piece you're talking about, I think.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, if you go up a little bit more. Whoa, now, right, see over to the side there, go in on that in the bottom left-hand corner. It says right of way. Keep
Yeah.
going in. Yeah, right there.
Right in there. Yes, sir.
And that's, all right, that's a right of way symbol there. So
Okay,
it's
So-
saying there's a right of way up through there. I don't know whether there is or not.
so that won't be touched.
I don't know.
No.
I don't know that there is a right of way there. This,
That's, if you look on our survey, it's. That's what you're-
And did you plan on putting a fence across that area there or no?
That would be up to the homeowners to buy it. if they wanted to
Okay.
fence it up.
All right,
Is-
I don't have any more questions then.
yeah, can I ask the
The
developer
applicant.
one?
Okay, thank you.
Is that a right of way?
Hang on,
going
Earl.
like that?
Earl. Hang on. Wait just a minute. Step back up to the podium, please, man.
And by right of way, I mean something dedicated to the public.
And state your name and address one more time.
Toby McWigan, 6005 West Shores Road, Fleming Island. It is Cleveland Avenue was platted there, and what happened was they closed that road and they split it in half, and they made half of it a right of way, which I don't know who it belongs to, and the other half was absorbed by our property that we bought.
So if they vacated it, half went to the joining owners, if it was platted all off at the same,
Right.
piece at the same time, so it's not a right of way.
So then it should be part of his property, actually.
Whoever the adjoiner is. or
Right, because he
whatever.
adjoins that, and I
Yeah.
don't know
But
why it
it's-
still shows up like that on the GIS, but they're not always,
It's not a right of way, though, it's a vacated street.
yes.
Okay. There's a difference.
Okay.
All right, thank you. The next speaker would be Preston Bartlett. Bartlett. Okay, sorry. Come forward, Ms. Bartlett.
1721 High Street. I'm a neighbor of Scotty's, and I hate to see anything going on that corner there as it is. I mean, you've got the golf course there. The community is starting to come back around with the houses, people fixing them up. I've lived there going on 3 years now. And the neighborhood, the people that are buying the houses and fixing them up and staying in them are starting to happen in that neighborhood. And I like to see it stay like that. The rental homes I see in the neighborhood, people don't take care of them because they're renting them. They don't care. And I don't know, I just oppose it. I'd like to see the neighborhood stay nice the way it is and be cleaned up.
Thank you, Mr. Bartlett. Hey, excuse me. We don't need no discussion like that right now, okay?
I'm a builder myself.
Okay, well, sir, Mr. Bartlett.
I lived in St. Augustine for 17 years and I saw it turn into Broward County. I was born and raised in Broward County.
Yes.
And I don't want to see that happen here. That's all I'm getting at.
Okay.
If it's a home to purchase, a nice home is one thing. Rental homes, I just don't, people are buying them up around here from everywhere and renting them out to folks and that don't care about their place. If it's their own property, they take care of it better than if it's a rental home. That's all I see in this thing.
Okay, thank you, sir. Next speaker will be Mrs. Karen Hughes.
My name is Karen Hughes, and I live at 1907 Moseley, right across the street from where the proposed lot is. And I really have no problem with putting homes in there. It's just that 11 homes is a lot. And I can tell you right now, somebody turns their water sprinkler on in our neighborhood and everybody's water pressure goes down. I don't know how in the world we're going to manage 11 additional homes. If this builder, and I'm all for what she wants to do, build nice homes, would reduce the number down from 11 to maybe 9. Instead of 3 on Moseley, go with 2 because that would equate to the 2 lots across from it. Instead of 4 going up the backside, go with 3. And I still think they could be nice homes. We'd have a good thing, but 11 homes is a lot. And I do think, like the first speaker said, I think if you put 11 homes in there, they're not going to be very big. Lots are going to be very small. And those of us who have invested in our properties and done things to improve our properties are going to see our property values go down. And so we're going to suffer for the sake of somebody making some profit off of 2 additional homes. And I just don't think that's right because we live here and we've invested the money and we should not have to suffer because somebody else wants to make an additional profit.
Thank you, Ms. Hughes. The next speaker would be Judge Art Nichols.
My name is Art Nichols. I live at 1717 Palmacia Street, not terrace, but street. If I could ask one question, the R1A lot size requirements is what?
Ms. Walker, would you like to answer that?
7,000 square feet.
7,000 as a minimum, right?
Mhm.
Okay. When I was down here yesterday, I was given the wrong information. I was told it was 10,000 square feet rather than 7,000. I only see 2 lots that are less than that. And those are the ones that come off of Palmacia Terrace to the north. They're close. There's about 800 square feet less. If that were one made into one, it would just about equal the ones across the street from it, if you follow me. The ones across the street are 12,000. You add these 2 on the north side there, it'd be about 1,300 or so. The others, the two of the ones there on Moseley, of course, are just a minimum lot size, 7,000 square feet. I don't think I can speak any more than what's already spoken to. Karen spoke very well for it. I live within a quarter of a mile of Moseley Avenue, and we feel like that's an awful lot of people and an awful lot of traffic that's going to go on there. And like she said, you turn your water on to take a shower, and if somebody's got their sprinkler on, you don't get a lot of water. So there's going to be a lot of additional to it, and unless the city has some type of utility upgrade, nobody's going to have anything as far as water supply is concerned out there. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anybody else that would like to speak to this, 2 or 4? Miss Nichols, if you'll come up to this.
I'm Teddy Nichols, and I live at 1717 Palmacia Street. When you think of 11 additional homes on 3.26, is that right? 3.26 acres, that's a lot of houses on 3 acres of land. Now, you got to think, 1,200 square foot home, how big is that house? Not very big. And I'm not against housing for people. I think everybody needs a home. But that's a little piece of property to put 11 houses in. If they were nice, big lots, were nice homes, I would be all for it. And there's only 2 streets there. There's the Moseley and a dead end. And then there's Edgemoor. That's the only way to get anywhere in that area. And all of these 11 car people, there 11 homes who have multiple cars, think of the extra traffic that we're going to have. And we just have two-lane highways. 2 streets is all it is. There is Palmacia Terrace, but it's like a one-way street. I mean, you go down to the end of Palmacia Terrace and you go to the cul-de-sac, but then you got to go back up to Hudson Avenue and then go back to Edgemoor or either Hudson the next way. It's just a lot of houses on 3 acres of land. Okay? And how in the world she can get that many 2-car garage houses in there with a home? I'm not against you building. People need places to live. But our property value, we've spent a lot of time and money on our street. And we're just against that many houses in that small piece of property.
Thank you, Ms. Nichols. Yes, ma'am.
Toby McWigan, 6005 West Shores Road. I noticed that when you mentioned a couple of the lot sizes, there was the latest revision that we did had not been turned in until late last night. And that did make sure that all of these lots, the ones that were actually on Edgemoor, are now closer to 10,000 square feet and not 7. So we've been taking that into consideration to make sure. I mean, these are 70 by 150 foot wide lots, which are, I mean, in Clay County, that's pretty big.
So let me, Ms. Nichols.
Okay.
Wait, just a minute.
Sorry. And looking, across the street, when I was looking at other lots, that seems to be what everybody else, like if you go down Edgemoor, all of these houses are on 70 by 100 foot, 120 foot wide lots. So I think that it conforms when you look at the overlay and you look at them, across the street from each other, they match.
That's a revised map from last night.
This one
Can-
is,
can you-
yeah.
Can you pass it through?
Sure.
please?
But with that, you're putting the 2 at 10,000 acres or 10,000 acres, 10,000 square feet. Are you reducing any of your homes? I mean,
An example is I have a house that's 1,800 square feet that is 50 feet wide by 40 feet deep. So that fits on all of these lots except for the ones on Palmacia. And it's a 2-car garage. I sell that one now in Middleburg for $265 to $275, depending on what they put in there. Now, when I say this, all of this is derived off of what buyers want. Obviously, anybody who's looking in this neighborhood is probably going to want that kind of house over there. I don't see many entry level. My entry level houses typically are sold, you know, off of St. John's and James and those areas. So that's, I just wanted to clarify, I'm not looking, we're not going anywhere. We've been in Green Cove for 4 years and we pretty much, you know, worked ourselves out of the area because we bought everything and we brought property values up. We did really good things there. I mean, if you go to the county commission meetings there, they think very highly of us. So we're trying to do the same thing here in the city of Blackna.
But my question is, I mean, you said you made the 2 lots 10,000 square feet. But you didn't put, was that just a revision of the map? I mean, was that a mistake that they weren't 10,000 to begin with, or did you reduce the others?
We changed the lines. We reconfigured how the lots were laid out so that we gave more, we took from some and gave to some others. I gave you all my copies, so I don't have it anymore.
So you,
Thank you.
you still got 4.
That's the bottom.
You've still got 4 on Edgemoor, but by this map here, in difference to that one, it looks like you took and put the easement in and divided it into 4 lots there. So
Correct.
you took your easement over there, which doesn't have to be a right of way. You took your easement over there and divided it up, put it in with these 4 lots here.
Correct.
So
that gave
what's the
them,
width of that easement?
that
was it?
was, I think he made it a 20-foot easement, which was
So you
unnecessary.
added 5 feet to those lots.
To- Correct. For the ones, no, we took that and we put that on the lots on Moseley. We made those deeper so that they can come up to, there were 9,210 square feet for lots 1 and 2. And then we were able to move the 2 lots, lots 10 and 11 on Palmacia, we were able to move those so that they could be 7,000 square feet, over 7,000 square feet.
Has she got the new layout that she put on the slide up there? I'm not finding fault, but I can't read the numbers.
If you
And
can,
I got my glasses.
Mr. Chair, if you can give me 2 minutes, I can scan it and put it up on the screen.
The 3 you gave me are the same?
Correct.
Yeah,
I got a bigger one. Actually, you gave me a bigger one.
yeah, that I would love to see. And I like that you got a north arrow on this one too.
Okay, if we can hang on just a minute and let her get that done and come back. So she can continue to record the meeting.
We're not planning on going anywhere. We're here to stay. So I definitely don't want to be bringing property values down. My goal is actually to bring them up.
So where is your easement now?
We're going to do it in between 2 of the properties. It'll be just an access easement, just like you would have for ingress egress.
So you'll do 10 and
Thank you.
10 on
10
the
and
2
10.
properties?
Yeah,
And 20 wide enough?
20 is wide enough, yeah, to get a lawnmower down there to take care of the
How about-
pond.
How about something, equipment to go in there and maintain the pond?
We could make them, on 2 of them, we can make them a little bit bigger.
Scrape paint off somebody's house.
If you're not careful.
Huh?
If you're careful, you can do it.
Like I said, if y'all can hold on just a minute till she can get back so we can record everything.
And your
Earl,
pond.
Mr. Wallace, could you
Oh,
hold
I'm
on
sorry.
just a minute till she can get back? She stepped out to make a copy, so she can scan that up there on there for us.
So she's gonna put it on the screen?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna hang on to this one then, all right?
Would you like me to make extra copies for?
Yeah, could you make one for everybody and then we can all, I appreciate it. See how good I am to you?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Wallace. I appreciate your,
Mr. Wallace, I like
Mr.
that
Wallace.
too. What you sneaking up on, Mark?
Well, this is all new.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The news is not in our packet either.
Right. Thank you. Ms. Thomas, are you there?
Yes. Yes, I am, Chairman Kilburn.
Ms. Thomas, what they're giving out to us now is additional stuff that was not put in the packet. Are we able to accept this at this time?
I would say that you need to make a motion to accept it and have Ms. Walsh ask that the package be amended and that that the board votes whether to review it or not.
Okay. Okay. Can I have a motion that we accept this into the packet? Well, I guess we have to have Ms. Walsh.
Right.
And Ms.
Just
Walsh
make the
didn't,
request?
she didn't
Yes.
understand the request that you were asking her to make.
You just want me to request to amend the packet?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I would like to request that the packet that you received be amended to accept this new piece of information, an updated preliminary plat.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Walsh.
Sir?
You've seen the new.
Yes, I have.
So we
I need
got-
to make it, I need y'all to make a motion that we accept this.
I make the motion that we accept.
I need a
this
second.
new-
I second.
There's a motion and a second that we accept this into the packet to be reviewed. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. We will accept this in the packet to be reviewed. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Killebrew, if I may advise Ms. Thomas that I've just emailed her for her review as well as we follow along.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sonny.
Miss, how you say your name again? Okay. McGuigan. You had the floor when all this stopped. So,
Is there any other questions?
there you go. Questions, Miss McGuigan?
Were you finished?
Were you finished with your questioning, Mr. Wallace?
I think it was.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and in the meantime, we've got another yellow card for a speaker, Miss Janie Burks.
Janie Burks, 1707 Palmacia Street, Palatka. I'd like to say we're always happy for builders to come in and build homes. I mean, we're excited that people want to become part of our community. But 11 houses is a lot of houses for that little spot. We just sold a house that was 1,380 square feet. It was a very, very small house. I just think that is too many houses for that area. And along Moseley, at the end, I mean, you have a very nice house, and then you're going to have these two really small houses. And I feel it is going to devalue our property. So I oppose it.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Burks. Are there any other comments, questions, concerns? Okay, at this time. Yes, ma'am. Please state your name and address again for
Yes,
the
sir.
record.
Karen Hughes, 1907 Moseley. Again, I just want to say that if she could get these lot sizes to 10,000, I would have no problem. but she's still got several that are below that. 11 houses is too many. Reduce the number of houses, how many lots you want, and build some nice homes, and I'm all for it. But don't just jam stuff in there that's gonna be, just so you can get 11 houses out of there. It's just not fair to those who have purchased homes and maintained their homes in that area. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else want to say a thing? Yes, Mr. I'm sure we can.
Sunny, I'll get it.
May I present him one, Mr. Kilberry, to pass around?
I'm sorry.
May I give him one to pass around?
Yes, that's fine.
All of it can speak.
Hang on just a minute. Okay. All right. At this time, I'm going to close public speaking. I'm going to open it up to the board. Mr. Wallace has asked to be speak, so go ahead.
Are all the lots, even the ones back on the cul-de-sac, are they all, what's the minimum width, 70 feet?
60.
70 or 75?
60.
No, for the zone.
60.
60?
Mhm.
Wow. And so they all meet it, even though they're long and thin. Okay. That's not back there, it's not where you put your $2,000. You don't have to ask me.
Any other? Mr. Wallace, are you three?
Yeah.
Anybody got any questions or discussion? My problem with this whole is where you come down to Edgemoor and Moseley Avenue. I mean, that's kind of a blind corner. I mean, I know once you start putting a house right there, the traffic that comes through there is pretty immense. I mean, you got traffic coming up from Brown's Landing. You have traffic coming down Edgemoor and a lot of traffic coming up Moseley. And you've got that one street across is that Brentwood across the street there? It's right. I mean, you come to the stop sign on Moseley, if you take that little jagged right and go down, that's Brentwood? That's what I thought. Yeah. Okay. Well, Brentwood, I mean, people coming off of that and trying to negotiate that little problem there. That's kind of my issue too. And then, I mean, trying to put so many homes, and I get it, you're trying to make the most bang for your buck, but trying to put so many homes in that one little corner right there with, like I said at the beginning, you have a lot of nicer homes in there. Palmacia, you had the homes in there that were built as luxury homes at one time. Then back over there by the golf course, the old Spalding property, that's a nicer home. And, the homes that are across the street, they're all well kept and well maintained. And I just would rather see bigger lot sizes and bigger homes, in just my opinion. I understand. I'm with you. So, I mean, that's just my opinion.
So I know this is something I should know, but like say 11,200 square feet, what does that come out in acreage? Quarter? What is it?
Yep. It's 0.75, isn't it? The acreage?
7,000 would be
43,560 is an acre. So
A quarter? It's not bad size. I feel the same when it comes to, having that many homes, right there. I'd like to see bigger homes, less homes myself. Not what I have to say.
I keep looking at those back on the cul-de-sac. That's you've got a footprint for a house that's that long and that narrow. These are all gonna be stick built, right? No prefabs?
You could go to my website.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry. Thank
Toby
you, Ms. Wells.
McWiggin, 6005 West Shores Road. You could go to my website and you can see all of the different homes that I have available. And we do have houses that are 40 feet wide with a 2-car garage. And we have 2 stories that also, they can get up to 2,000 square feet. So there's definitely houses that'll fit on that. I mean, I've built in Durbin Crossing in St. Johns County, and those were, $500,000 houses, and we did those on 60-foot wide lots. So there is a house for everything. But we don't determine what houses we put on there until we get the feedback of what the buyers want, and if there are no buyers for a 3,000 square foot house, if we build one, what are we going to do with it,
So y'all are actually going to build the home according to, when you have a buyer for the house, for the property, then you will build the home for that property.
Correct. We actually have a waiting list of people that would like to be there. And most of them are looking at our bigger floor plans. We have a Zoe plan, which is 1,800 square feet. And that has been our biggest draw. And we have probably about 4 or 5 people that are sitting on a waiting list going, hey, when you get this through, we're ready to pull the trigger.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, ma'am, we're not going to have any crosstalk like that in the meeting.
You are saying that you are not going to build the home until you already have a buyer for it?
That's what she said. Yes, ma'am.
That's what you said. So
Yes,
you're
ma'am.
not gonna go in there and cut all the trees down and start putting up foundations unless you have buyers?
That's what she.
But yeah, you think you still can put 11 houses on 3.26 acres and there won't be congestion and traffic patterns with cars coming in and out and around? That's a dead end
Ms.
street.
Nichols, we've already
We've already
discussed that.
discussed
Yes,
that.
ma'am. Thank you. You can talk to her after the meeting. Okay. So any further discussion to the board? What is the pleasure to, well, I'm sorry.
The pond, that square footage is good with water management and everybody?
We have not permitted that yet. I want to get through and ensure that this is
Yeah,
going to be
I
something
understand.
that's acceptable.
So is this gonna come? Is this gonna come before us again?
Yes, sir. This will come before you again as a
So the
final
next-
plat.
Next time it comes before us, we're gonna have a surveyor's plat
Correct.
with, and y'all gone to water management, and had your ponds all permitted. And, as far as, the traffic and all those numbers have been worked out. So for preliminary, this is so you're not just throwing your money up.
Right. Right. Don't say that.
Okay.
Okay, seeing no further discussion. What's the pleasure of the board?
I guess I'll be the dog. I move that we accept the preliminary design, the staff's recommendations.
I second.
Okay, there's a second, motion and a second on the floor that we accept.
And it is going to come back to us, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Motion second on the floor that we accept the recommendation of staff. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes 2-1. Thank you very much.
Excuse me, is it 3-1?
3-1.
It's the
3-1, I'm sorry. I said 2-1.
Can I keep this? Thank you.
Okay. Now we move on to staff comments. Staff have any comments?
I do, Mr. Chair, if it's when it's appropriate.
You, yeah. I'm sorry, hang on just a minute.
Where's that at?
It's on my agenda, right? What did, I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I do when it's appropriate.
Okay, go ahead.
Just wanted to make mention that we are accepting applications for board positions at this time. We do have 3 planning board members whose terms are fixing to expire at the end of the year. Mr. Wallace has already submitted his application for reappointment. The other 2 being, sorry, I'm pulling up my cheat sheet. The other 2 being you, Mr. Killebrew, and Mr. Wallace. So
Okay.
when appropriate, please turn in your reappointment application so I can get them in front of the commission before
Okay.
the end of the year.
Okay, thank you.
Chairman Killebrew,
Yes, ma'am, Ms. Thomas.
I just wanted to emphasize that any promises made by the developer which are not a part of the plat are not enforceable. I just want to advise the board as well as the citizens who are there in person at the meeting.
They're already gone. I texted that while they were still here.
Okay.
When you
They're gone?
have all,
Okay.
have all that back and forth.
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
the problem is that if it's not on the plat, it's not something that was improved as a condition,
Right.
it's not enforceable. So what you end up with before it's over is you'll end up with people, y'all voted to approve over objections. Promises or statements were made about sizes of houses and stuff. Now, they're not part of the plat, it's not, there's no way to enforce it, so he ends up developing those in 1,100 square foot, 1,000 square foot houses, whatever. Let's just say she does. And then the next thing I get is people down here at City Hall raising sand because at a meeting, the question was asked, what kind of house she's gonna put on, and the statement was made that it's gonna be a bigger house. Nobody's looking for the smaller houses, and they're gonna claim that they were sort of, misled.
Right.
So it's just really important when all that's going on, that conversation is going on, that somebody make an announcement before there's a vote. That folks, it's great for y'all to talk and happy for the information to come out, but understand, this is not enforceable. Her statements about the size, it's not enforceable. There's no lot restriction, there's no deed restriction. She can put whatever she can get on there that's that passes, code. So just, I was trying to get that out before the vote, but.
So even if it's part of our.
Well, this is
this
coming back also, isn't it?
It's not enforceable?
No, absolutely not enforceable.
All right, now, it's got to come back to us. again.
Exactly.
It does.
At that, really, if it's R1, it's not up. I mean, we can't, as far as the size of the houses or anything else, it's none of our business.
Well, and that's the point that needs to be made.
Right.
That's the point that needs to be made. I'm not saying that you should have a condition about size. I'm saying that the public needs to understand that you're approving a concept design on a subdivision. It's not a PUD. It's not a conditional use. It's a concept design on a subdivision. You're basically only approving a conceptual outline of how the subdivision is going to look. If they don't have deed restrictions, they don't offer deed restrictions as a condition of approval. All you can tell the public is, folks, hear what she's saying. I'm sure not here to say she's not telling you the truth, but understand all we can guarantee you is what we're approving, which is the design of the subdivision, size of the lots, et cetera. And then if things go south, it's very clear to the public that, that you didn't, that we didn't, the city didn't, because that's going to get, who gets blamed is the city, that there was nobody was misled.
My motion was to approve this preliminary design.
I know it was, but you heard the conversation. The
I've
public
seen
doesn't
the
understand the niceties of it. All they know is they asked the question, she told them, they asked specifically, and they were reassured, and nobody said anything to caution that wasn't anything that was enforceable. So they walk out here. It's we're talking lay people. They're talking practicality. They heard somebody say what was going to happen, and nobody said, but this isn't enforceable. You understand, we can't hold her to that. So they walk out of here with a sense that maybe they've gotten some assurance.
I know everybody hears what they want to hear. period for everything.
True.
So who makes the announcement that what we're doing is limited to the design?
It could
of
be
the
Miss
lot?
Walsh, it could be Miss Thomas, it could be Mr. Killebrew, anybody, just somebody official saying, folks understand.
It should have been, that should have been me, but I didn't understand that.
I'm just trying to make sure our process kind of gets, because it looks like if things don't change, we're gonna get more and more stuff coming across the board. And when you have more and more stuff, you have more and more opportunity for people to get their feelings hurt or feel like they've been misled, more and more appeals, more and more litigation. And it's just important to keep it clean as we can. And then you're still going to get some people who feel like they've been misled. But if we can point to a record and say, wait, you heard us, didn't you? It's just like zoning. We talked about the fact that if it's a permitted use in a zoning category, and even though the applicant says, I'm going to put in a whatever, Dollar General, any use allowed it, not in R1, but if it was C2, any use allowed in C2 is what theoretically can go in. We're not tying them to whatever they say they're going to do. We can't do it. It's not a promise.
That's what I pointed out to the first case. Everybody talks a good ball game, but once we turn them loose, they're turned loose.
Well, why didn't you point it out in the second case?
Mr. Killebrew, I'll jump on this sword too. I should have mentioned it also.
What'd you say, Ms. Thomas?
I'll jump on those hand grenade with you on not mentioning it. I should have told them this, it's limited to the record and what's presented before then.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Turn your
Thought I did click it. I thought I feel like we've had that come up a couple times where we almost have to remind in different situations that we're just voting on the conditional use or we're just voting on this.
Right.
So maybe that's just something that I need to maybe remember as a general thing every time we do. Because it is easy, I think, if I was in the public, I would be the same way. I'd be like, okay, what about this or what about that? Or
You understand what your lane is.
yeah.
Right.
The public doesn't.
Yeah.
They come in because somebody's trying to approve a development. That's generically what they look at. They don't understand the niceties of a conceptual site plan or whatever. We're approving a subdivision. So as far as they're concerned, everything that's said in here, that's not challenged, is basically information they're getting. And then when they walk out and things don't happen that way, it's not my first rodeo. I've seen what happens then with people saying, there's, obviously somebody's on the take, this is behind the backdoor deals. They told us this was going to be 1,500 square foot houses and blah, blah, blah. And look what we got. And
if I was betting, I would always bet that it's not going to happen the way everybody said it is.
Yeah, me too.
I'd win.
I wonder if we could add something to that effect at the beginning, like in item 1D where it says appeal procedures and ex parte communication. Maybe we could just have a statement at that time.
I like that idea only because I think it gives a reminder to us, because I think it is easy to get caught up in.
I think
it's an excellent idea.
If it serves as a reminder, that's important, but I think it needs to be voiced,
Yes.
too.
If Don could draw up a catch-all statement that Ed could read. No, I'm not being funny. That Ed could read that would get the city off the hook, then that would be great. And then every time we come to a decision, he reads that beforehand and we're done.
And it not only gets the city off the hook, but when you tell somebody, hey, folks, remember now, she's going to have 11 lots. We can't control what she puts on there as long as she doesn't exceed lot coverage, has her setbacks. We can't control it. And it doesn't have a maximum height above X feet. You can't say whether it's going to be single story, 2-story. You can't. And then if they are sitting here and they are saying, well, I'd have been way against this, except for the fact that she told me they were going to be $300,000 houses. Now, if I know that can't be enforced, I'm way against it, and I'm not going to shut up. I'm going to keep on talking. Then, people don't feel like their voice has been taken away. So it's just something, you get it on zoning matters, you get it on, now conditional uses are different because, you can put the condition in there on conditional use. PUDs are different because you can put the conditions in there on a PUD. But a subdivision, plain old subdivision, no, unless, it's part of the plat. You know that, Earl. If it's part of the plat, it's enforceable. If it's not part of the plat, you're stuck with it.
Where we got one that's trying to put 10 pounds in an 8-pound bag like this.
Yep.
Why don't we make a cut out of it?
I don't know.
I know we can't make them do it, but we can.
Suggest it.
Suggest they do it.
Yeah,
Then
somewhere along the line, things got added. The last time I knew anything about this, it was an 8-unit project. I really don't know when it got moved to 11.
8 units would have been good. I still want to see back here on the cul-de-sac, those look like mobile homes to me. You know, but she
Well, that
said
was-
they're gonna be stick built.
That was my concern.
We don't need to
because-
be talking about this case anymore though, right? Everybody's gone.
Yeah.
So,
I guess you're right.
Now, I just use that.
yeah, I know, you're just making an
I like
example.
those.
Just happened to be similar to what we just heard, right?
Just similar,
Yeah,
yeah, it was simple.
I'm leaving now. Good night.
Good night, Mr. Holmes. Mrs. Thomas, do you have anything to add?
Nope, I don't have anything to add. I do agree with Ms. Walsh that we should add that language there so that the board is reminded, you can repeat it, I'll repeat it, so that everybody hears it and understands it. And Ms. Walsh probably will also include it and state it.
And Ms. Thomas, sometimes, I mean, you know, I'm just a regular old country boy. I mean, I don't have a degree like you and Mr. Holmes or Ms. Walsh or probably most of these people sitting around me. And sometimes I need you to step in and remind me of those things when because like I said earlier, I am born and raised here, and I do get a little emotional about my county and my hometown. And
understand.
I
See,
might speak.
I want to, assist you, not direct you.
Yes,
And
ma'am, and I
because-
understand that.
yeah,
And
okay.
but I'm just saying that would be an assistance to me.
Okay.
Oh, hush.
Okay, because when they started again with the public comments,
Yes,
you
ma'am.
had already closed public
Yes,
comments.
ma'am. When they started that, I was like, yeah, okay. I knew I had, and I knew that was wrong. So, but I had already let it happen. So
Yeah.
there wasn't, you know how that goes. Once you
Yes,
let
sir,
the pig
I
out
do.
the stall, there ain't no putting him back.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Miss Thomas.
Get on the microphone, Mr. Wallace. so
Yes,
she can hear you.
please.
Miss Thomas.
Yes.
Not being smart aleck or anything, but when are you gonna be coming back in here in person? I mean, I have trouble understanding you is the reason I'm asking that.
Well, Mr. Wallace, part of the reasons that I am not there is because this is the first of the month. My sister, I have a 90-year-old mother, and my sister and I share care for her. So I come the first 2 weeks of the month, and my sister is here. You guys need to move your meeting date to the end of the month, and then I'll be back.
I wasn't being smart. I honestly wasn't, But I just, I have trouble. I got my hearing aids in today too.
Oh, no,
But,
and I was running
I just have
back from
trouble
something.
understanding.
Yeah. I was running back when Mr. Killebrew, I heard my name, and I was like, oh geez, because I was trying to take a break while Sonny was out. And then I heard you call my name and I had to run back. So I was a little out of breath there.
You're opening a beer, weren't you? And then had to run.
No, it would have been wrong with the way this was going to be.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Thomas. Does any?
You're welcome anytime.
Yes, ma'am. Does any of the other staff, y'all have any comments? Ms. Walker?
I do not.
Hit your butt.
Here I am. Sorry. I just wanted to say thank you very much to both of you because I know that y'all do a lot while we're in the whole process of it, of running and, helping us remember how to do things and stuff. So thank you. And thank you, Ms. Thomas, too, because I know you help us get back on track a lot. So thank
My
you.
pleasure.
Likewise.
Like, when,
Did we adjourn the meeting?
No, ma'am, we have not yet. I was giving y'all public time to speak, but I was going to do that, but Earl grabbed a piece of paper and started talking again. It's hard to rank. He's kind of like a pig coming out of a stall too.
when we have like a preliminary like this.
Yes, sir.
If it's a surveyor's map, and like this is something by an engineer, and he's taken stuff, I'm sure they got a survey and they've got elevations and all. A surveyor has done a lot of work, but then the engineer, he copies information off and he puts his caption, title at the bottom, but he's not liable for anything. If you got a surveyor's map, he's got to double check everything and it's got to be good or he's in deep trouble.
Right.
So if we could have like a map for prepared by, and it doesn't cost the developer anymore because all the work's been done. And you know what I mean?
Yes. And this is the stuff that we need, because we cannot see that little stuff up there.
Right.
Or, you know, I mean, this is struggling, I mean, I can bring it magnifying glass, but yeah.
No, it needs to be
this
more
is
legible.
helpful being able to
Yes.
see the bigger
And
stuff.
that latest edition just arrived in my email box last night.
Well, that's what she said.
Yeah.
So, and I was unsure about allowing it to be, you know, I mean, it was the same thing, but basically, but then she said the square footage was different. So
Right.
I was really
New
unsure.
information.
They
Yeah.
had easement going to the pond as a right of way out of the square footage of the lots. And she took that 20 feet
Mhm.
and somebody told her that she could use, because it can be part of the lot, the square footage. So she took that 20-foot easement over there and divided it 4 times by those lots and gave each lot another 5 feet.
Mm.
And now she's gonna take that 20 feet back off down there as a 20-foot easement. And it'll still be a part of the lots, except that the lot owners cannot do anything with it that will interfere with going back to the pond.
Yes.
It's numbers, you know?
Okay, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
There wasn't a motion.
There wasn't a motion. I asked for a motion. Motion and a second to adjourn. We are now adjourned.